Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. We are now on tricks. Tricks are what we call negative spell casting. In Hoodoo, it's just common practice. It's not seen as bad or evil, the same as the rose and thorn path. It's not seen as bad or evil at all. The disposal of tricks is different from other spell work, and it depends on the type of trick that is being cast. Attraction spells can be buried in your garden because you are attracting something positive towards you. Tricks are intended to inflict another person, and they should never be buried near your home. It is definitely not a good idea. Bury them in the target's garden if you can. Make something that you can attach it to and give to them. Tricks are designed to be forever, or as long-lasting as you wish. Even when the item is found, the trick, the hex, the jinx, the curse does not break. Even if it's an item that breaks itself, that just makes it worse for the person. Ritual objects to cause serious harm will be buried at a graveyard, and payments to the spirits of that graveyard will be paid. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want to be giving out too many secrets. Obviously, with modern times comes changes, so there's alternatives now, like burying materials outside, in general, or a piece of land. When it's positive, burying them under carpets and rugs, that's become quite common. Personal preference. It's all personal preference. If you don't want to stick to the old ways like I do, then it is all personal preference, I guess. Disposing of materials in running water is used in wish and banishing spells. The idea is that the water washes it away. Then whatever is needed will be successful through the element power of that running water. Burning materials will neutralise jinxes or hexes. You can also burn materials for tricks and paper, then sprinkle the ashes near a tree that is close to the person's property. Any paper burned for a trick that should have bad intentions and directed at a person that you wish to inflict. Once it's burnt, sprinkle the ashes as close to the target's property as you can. You can also use attraction methods in the same way by putting it near the person you wish to attract. You can also blow it into the wind, chanting their name. Obviously, the air shall carry it and find them. Any remains that are left over from trick, well, we just call them tricks, but let's say trick spells, hexes, whatever. You know, your candle wax, incense, remnants, ashes. They can be disposed at the middle of a crossroads where cars will run over it. That I do very regularly, just so you know. Attracting good luck can be done by tossing coins in the middle of a crossroads. Alternative methods have been introduced to match modern times. Drawing a cross on the floor indoors and using this the same way. You would use it like you would use a crossroad, but it'd be drawn in your house. It's being used in tricks and even protection spells. Do not advise using that in tricks, only in good stuff, because that would not be good for your house. Hiding a trick, and the point of its origin, is another way you can perform them. You can place them concealed in trees because they soak up negative energy, and this will neutralise the trick. That's for someone who's had a trick done to them, of course. Ritually blessing a potted plant and then placing it inside the soil can also neutralise a jinx, and it's more of a common method these days that people do that. Concealing a spell intended for harming potted plants and then gifting them to the intended person is a method that is also used to conceal it very well, and it does ensure it reaches its intended target. That applies to any gift that you give anyone. Any gift. All they have to do is touch it. Boom. It's done. Prepared water materials can be placed or sprinkled in food, and those kind of gifts conceal them too. When it's given in food or drink, this is called working in secret, and it usually is used to keep a partner faithful or gain domination over another. Working in stealth is the term given when spells are hidden in clothing, placed in small mojo bags and sewn into clothing, pillowcases, curtains, even mattresses. The possibilities are quite endless depending on the person in which you wish to target. Foot trap magic, or I suppose these days it's called footprint magic, but it's foot trap, involves the deployment of materials to be stepped on and is based on the African concept that magical influences enter and exit through the soles of our feet. Foot trap magic has been documented to cause pain and swelling, persistent bad luck in love and money or life in general. People have also reported mental disturbances, walking and foot issues when afflicted with foot magic. The mental is the most common. They start being attacked at night by unseen forces, start seeing things, it sends them insane basically. That's probably one of the most common. The idea is to blend your foot trap magic ingredients into a fine powder, like chalk. And the other is obviously to use a hoodoo bottle, so it's going to be concealed. The powder materials are drawn in a line across or the quincux shape, and the victim will need to walk over it. Fine powders are less obvious, and this is usually called crossing or putting something down as it's intended to harm. You can buy these powders, but you can make them yourself. The base ingredient is rice or corn flour. The measurements are never precise, but are just equal parts of whatever ingredient. Red pepper, sulphur, black pepper and chili powder are the most common ingredients. And the most common method is to draw the powder in wavy lines, a circle with a cross inside it, and then spit on it, cursing. When you do this, the spell will activate. When they walk over it, work is complete. You can also gather dirt from footprints and mix them into ingredients, placing them in a bottle. You could even sprinkle them into a person's shoes or socks too. You can also take the dirt from any footprint, mix it with its hot powder, we call it, and put this into a slip of paper. Toss the mix over your shoulder into running water. Do not look back. This will stop that person from bothering you or ever contacting you again. Wearing amulets will protect you from tricks, or by taking cleansing baths and throwing the water. You would have to throw it, I believe it's left over your shoulder, into your own foot tracks will remove a jinx and protect you. That's why I say never leave your footprints anywhere. You've no idea what witches can do with this stuff. So in hoodoo as well, as in the craft that I know, eggs are very common. They should come from a black hen if possible. Other eggs are alright as long as they're fresh. They've got to be fresh from the chicken. They can't just be bought from the shop. It doesn't work like that. The eggs are used as a way to draw out negative energy from a person. Roll the egg all over the body to draw out the negativity. The egg will soak it up, especially if there's a jinx, hex, or a cross placed upon that person. The egg should be room temperature, not chilled. Slow rolling of the egg is done in a downwards motion, so that the last thing that the egg is rolled over, obviously, is going to be the feet. You should be able to feel the egg filling with negative energy, and it will become heavier as you're performing the ritual. That's true, it really does. It actually does, because I've done it. Keep a spare egg nearby in case the first one breaks. This has been known to happen too. It just randomly explodes. A bowl of warm water and a towel, because you'll need to clean up the mess, obviously, if you're treating someone else or yourself. The egg, when filled, must then be taken and thrown at a tree or disposed at a crossroad by throwing it in the middle of the crossroads. Eggs were used in other ways too in earlier times. If a murder was committed, an egg would be placed directly in the hand of the victim. This was a belief that if they did this, it would prevent the murderer from getting too far from the victim, enabling capture. Bodily fluids have been used in rituals for many generations and in many different spiritual paths. It can be problematic for some people due to the stigma surrounding the use of it. Most people stay away from the use of bodily fluids. If you do use them, it's important to remember you're going to need to place them on a cloth and use them straight away because they degrade very fast. You can refrigerate them if needed. The best way to keep your bodily fluids, so I'm talking about menstrual blood, blood in general, spit, phlegm, DNA, semen, juices of the body, I guess, is what you would call it. The easiest way to keep them fresh for using, use a string, soak the string in the bodily fluid, and then you'd have to cover it up obviously, and place it in the fridge. That keeps it fresh. You can reactivate the fluid then by simply dipping the string in water. Don't soak it, just dip it. The string will soak up the fluid when the water's placed onto it, and the string will it'll just kick back into place, back into life basically, because it's dead, isn't it? It dies. That's a problem because it's a living, any bodily fluid is living. It's an active cell. So to keep it fresh, put it on string, wrap it, refrigerate it. To reactivate it, dip it in water and you'll bring it back to life and you can then use it. That's how you would keep semen for using in spells. It's how you would keep urine. It's how you would keep spit. Pretty much anything really is on string in the fridge. Menstrual blood has been long used for enticing men. Single or married men were once told never to accept food or drink from a maiden because she may just feed you her blood, binding you to her for the rest of your life. It is an African American hoodoo tradition, and by simply adding drops of menstrual blood in a drink and handing it to a man will bring about his lust for you. It's really all that's needed. You can make a person desire and lust you, bring them to feel attracted to you in a deep way. It's a common ingredient in any love spell. Shelmalai is the name given to urine in hoodoo. Traditionally, a female lover would urinate on his mojo hand before he would go gambling. Otherwise, the female would make a mojo bag and give it to him in his lucky hand. But the very old tradition, the more common one, is the female would just pee on his lucky hand and he would not wipe it off, he'd just let it dry. This is called feeding the mojo. And it's very common in European folklore just as it was in hoodoo. Men can put their urine in women's drinks the same way that women do with blood or their semen. And it induces the same sort of results as menstrual blood would, but it's not as powerful. A man can also cure impotence that has been placed on him by magic with his own urine. He would urinate on a knife and face the knife towards the ground, letting the urine run down the knife to the floor. Semen can be used in love spells as most other ingredients. It can also be used in a mojo bag and placed under a pillow to control a man or keep him faithful. Nail clippings are common, and fingernail clippings are often placed in drinks served to the person you wish to have an ode on. For example, a lover you feel is losing interest. That would make a great spell. Toenail clippings are used in spells to ensure you will walk all over the person needed. Again, that can be used for good and bad. Fluids you can use from the body and items such air, semen, sweat, spit, blood, urine, unwashed clothing, a person's bathwater, a person's handwritten paper note, a cigarette end, photo, a drawing of a person, a business card, or simply the person's name if you are mastered in your arts. You can use one or more of the items and simply put them together. Regardless, remember, that's in our path, it's not classed as bad magic, it's not classed as harmful magic, it's not classed as evil. Magic is magic. The intention is clear. It's the person that's doing the magic that makes the decision. And the way that we are brought up, we are not brought up with a creed, no rules, nothing like this. It's the same as hoodoo. It is what it is. If the universe thinks it's right and justice is being done to this person, trust me, nothing you can do. It will happen. And that's just the way that we do our casting of tricks. We call them tricks. They are, you can call them curses, X's, jinxes, crossing, whatever. It's all the negative side of spells, I guess. But it's done in a way that's deserved. So it's never done to someone who's nice, kind, never hurt you. It's never done to those type of people. It's more of a justice well served, I'd say. Anyway, I'm going to leave that part here, guys. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed. When we come back, we'll get on to working with ancestors. Again, if you like this content, then please subscribe and leave a like. It really helps. Many blessings.